Howdy, folks. I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Kicking My Daughter Out After She Crossed a Line? I'm a 51-year-old male, and I have 3 children. 1 girl, 1 boy, and 1 child is gender neutral. My son Eric, the 22-year-old male, is the oldest. Eva is a 20-year-old male, and she's the middle child. And Charlie, 17, is my youngest. I'm still very new to the whole LGBTQ thing, so please correct me if I say something wrong. Now, sadly, when the children were all young, 11, 9, and 6, their mother, my wife, passed away in a car accident, and I've been raising them by myself ever since, and I've chosen to never remarry since my wife is and was the love of my life. I'll say that I'm definitely not a perfect father, but I've done the best that I could to raise my children. Now, Eva has always been a bit more wild than her other siblings, even before her mother passed. I've tried everything ranging from having to sit down talks with her and putting her in therapy, as well as taking parenting classes and reading books to see what I could possibly do to help. Therapy did seem to help a little, but decided to stop soon after she turned 18. Now let me tell you the story as to why I'm here. Now my daughter Eva still lives with me, and Charlie as well, and she goes to school, and has definitely been at home more due to the pandemic. But she started to go out more now that they are letting up on some of the restrictions. Now I was out getting dinner with an old high school buddy of mine when I get a panicked call from my son who had been at the house hanging out with his siblings. To summarize what he told me, he got into an argument with Eva, and Charlie sided with him. Eva became very volatile and even called Charlie a slur, which is a big no for me. So I decided to head home and try to calm everything down. I told Eva that I didn't care about what they had been arguing about, and that she wasn't allowed to disrespect Charlie or Eric like that. Me and Eva ended up now being the ones to start arguing, but I soon shut it down when I realized it wasn't going to help. I forced her to apologize and took away her car privileges until she could learn to respect her siblings, and I thought it was the end of that. Well, the next morning after work, I ended up coming home and finding scraps of paper all over. At first, I didn't get it, but soon found out that she had cut up about half a dozen letters her mom had written to me when I was very much younger. I was livid. I know it was her because I have a couple of cameras in my house. I just walked into her room and told her to get out. She was smug and rolled her eyes, but then I yelled, "Get out of my house." And she realized I was serious. She was crying and screaming, but I had felt sort of numb at that point, and she left with a friend of hers. But now I feel like I was being too harsh, but I want to stand my ground. Am I the jerk? Edit, she did know about the cameras, but they're really just for my dog. Okay, alright OP, I just had to scroll up. I wanted to see what Eva's age was, and you mentioned that she is 20, and I don't know what the car situation is. I mean, I guess if you own the car, then it's perfectly reasonable to take away her car privileges. If it's a car that she owned, I would have to say that that probably wouldn't have been the proper thing to do. But let's address the bigger issue at hand here. She took some irreplaceable memorabilia of yours and then destroyed it. And she knew what she was doing because when you went into her bedroom and you said, "Get out," she just looked smug like, "Oh, what are you going to do?" She's a monster. I mean, plain and simple. She is a brat and she deserves to be kicked out of the house. One, she's being rude to your children, your other children. And 2, she's now crossed a huge boundary by, destroying this property of yours. The thing is that she can cry and whine and beg and plead all she wants, but she made her decision. She made her choices. She's an adult, and her choices were very bad choices. Your job as a parent is, of course, to raise your children and teach them the right way, but when they're adults, they've learned, allegedly, everything they need to learn. And in this particular case, she just, I guess, did not take the proper lessons away from her, growing up. So, Yeah, you're not in the wrong here for kicking her out. I mean, this is just absolutely absurd. I can't understand how she would think that, oh, yeah, I'm just going to go up to my dad's stuff, shred it, and there are going to be no consequences here. There are clearly consequences, and she now faces them. She can live wherever, but I would either go low contact or no contact with her for at least a little while, given how terrible she acted here. Really, you're not the jerk. Not the jerk. She's 20, which is old enough to grasp the maliciousness of her actions, as well as the potential repercussions. I'm sorry that you lost the letters. That sounds pretty devastating. Maybe they can be salvaged as collage art. And OP replies, my wife wrote the letters to me when we were young in our teen years. They mean the world to me, but honestly, I'm just hoping I can salvage my relationship with my daughter. If I can do anything to fix the letters, I will definitely do that, but at the end of the day, they're just pieces of paper, and my daughter is my daughter. I'm just at a loss right now. You know, I really feel bad for OP in this situation. He seems like a really great person, and it seems like he's trying to do the best he can for his children. And, you know, I certainly can understand why he would want to salvage the relationship with his daughter, but she needs to be willing to have a salvageable relationship, and it sounds like she's used to being able to walk around and do whatever she wants. I can't imagine this is the first time that she's done not maybe something to this extent, but similar things. So, you know, OP, sometimes there are just bad apples. And that's really what it boils down to. I think if you want to salvage your relationship with your daughter, you're going to need family therapy, and you're going to need to sit down and have therapy with her on a pretty regular basis. And you need to insist that she goes to therapy. Like, you said it was helping before, but when she turned 18, she decided that she was done with it. Well, if she wants to come back and have a relationship with you, then she needs to go to therapy. Plain and simple. Alright, I'm putting this together after reading through many of the other comments, and I'll be using info I grabbed from them to help me with my rating. First, the original argument between Charlie and Eva occurred because she scratched their car and refused to apologize. Edit, she hit Eric's car. Charlie insisted that Eva apologize to her brother. Eva blew up on Charlie. I misread OP's response to an info post below. Honestly, I think that makes the situation even more messed up though. Second, despite clearly being in the wrong, Eva chose not only to forego a simple apology, but to escalate using slurs to a minor. Third, Eva was aware of the security cameras. She was there the day that they were put in. While destroying the letters, she looked right into them. Not only did she want to hurt her father, she wanted him to know that it was her who did it. I don't often get into psychological stuff in my judgments, but that's messed up on so many levels. Given the reasons I've just stated, I feel completely confident in rating OP as not the jerk. I was on the fence when I originally read the post, kicking a child out, always rocky terrain, but as I gathered more information, it became abundantly clear that she should not be around her younger sibling or in the house until she gets some serious help, which I sincerely hope she gets. Edit, I would like to address some of the comments on the lower end of this thread. There is a world of difference between abandoning Eva and not allowing her to live with you anymore. I fully encourage OP to help Eva get the help that she needs, but he also has to think about not only his own emotional well-being, but of his other two children as well. Yeah, I mean, knowing this additional information, I think that this makes it even more clear that OP did the right thing by kicking her out. Plain and simple. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Making My Daughter Pay My Daughter's Ex? Throwaway to keep this post away from the normal accounts. My daughter is a 25-year-old female, and her fiancé and her got engaged in September last year, and he proposed with his great-grandmother's sapphire ring. She accepted it and wore the ring until they had a disagreement over him hanging out with a female friend. They broke up and asked for the ring back, and she wouldn't give it back. He begged me because his grandma would have a heart attack if she found out, and I asked her to give it back. No matter whatever happened between them, it's still an heirloom. She told us that she pawned it, and my wife and I went to every pawn shop in the city and we couldn't find it. So we told her that we were paying back her ex with the money we would have used to pay back her college. She was yelling at us that he was flirting with another girl, so how dare us punish her when he was cheating. She went back to the pawn shop, but they had sold it. We contacted the boy's mother to apologize and ask how much the ring. They have proof of the price from when the ring was bought in 1926, but they weren't sure of the current value, but we settled on $6,000 since the stone was a 3.8 carat. Now, I think she thought we weren't serious about making her pay back her student loans, and it came out to be $32,000, and we paid back $26,000 and left $6,000 for her. She has refused to speak with us since then, and my wife wants us to just pay back the remainder of the loan, but I'm standing firm. Am I the jerk? All right, OP. You know, the thing is that it sounds like she broke off the engagement. And it sounds like they had a disagreement over him hanging out with a female friend. And she claims that it was flirting, that they were flirting. And so she had every right to break off this engagement. I guess in whether or not they had this disagreement, this was also a family heirloom. And the thing is that, generally when you give a engagement ring to somebody, if it's a family heirloom, I think there's certain rules of etiquette here that kind of go beyond the general. It's, a permanent gift. Generally, family heirlooms will stay in the family, and that's part of the idea around a family heirloom ring, is that this ring is going to stay in the family, and it's, a possession that is passed down over the years. And it sounds like it was probably a very beautiful ring because of the pawn shop. If this happened over a very short period of time, sold it relatively quickly, then it was probably just one of those things where it was actually a really nice ring and it sold very quickly. A 3.8 carat sapphire ring. Now that's a pretty good sized sapphire ring. I mean, that's pretty good sized. I really honestly feel like she probably did not have the right to sell this sapphire ring. We do not know, just from your post here, how much he was flirting with her. The thing is, I think the right thing in the situation would have been to give the ring back. I don't know if everyone's going to agree with that, but my personal feelings are that because it's a family heirloom, the expectation when you take a family heirloom engagement ring is that it stays in the family, and that's just kind of my feelings there, though that might not be everyone's opinion. So, as for your actions here, I think if you sincerely believe that she did not have a just cause for breaking off the engagement with her boyfriend and keeping the ring, then I think that what you did here was fine. I mean, I think paying them back for a family heirloom, an irreplaceable family heirloom, was probably the right thing to do. And, nothing can replace a lost heirloom, of course, but at least you tried to do the right thing. And if you gave them the money, then maybe someday they can find that heirloom and buy it back. So I think that you're in the right here. I think your daughter probably is in the wrong just by the way you describe it, but I would need more information on the reasons why she broke off the engagement and maybe the terms under which the ring was given to her. So yeah. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Your daughter is the jerk in the story. Definitely. My girlfriend lost a sweatshirt from her grandfather, who is suffering from depression too, an ex. Literally had to ask him back for it for 3 weeks. Spent her money. She did harm to her ex. She harmed his entire family on his mother's side. By the way, it was legally his. An engagement ring is essentially a contract, a gift in contemplation of marriage. If the marriage doesn't happen, the ring is returned. That has been held up in court over and over. Daughter is a complete jerk in the story and incredibly immature and vindictive. She knew the importance of the ring and chose to pawn it to hurt him. I wonder if he was even really flirting, because this sounds like something a teenager would be upset over and not a grown woman. But he was talking to another woman. Ugh. I think this probably depends on jurisdiction. I mean, I don't know that this is sound legal advice. I would always contact your lawyer if you were planning on selling an engagement ring. I think that's what this boils down to. They might be right. Maybe what I'm thinking is that after the marriage, if if someone gets divorced, then they still have legal possession of that ring. And even in that situation, I still think the right thing to do, in a case of a divorce for a family heirloom, is return a family heirloom to the family, because, why make a bad situation worse? I don't know. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.